Lee did not feed. Please do not be toxic in these games. He had a bad game. That happens. Feeding is when you, like, completely walk into their team over and over and over again and have, like, 40 death. Having a difficult matchup, falling behind, having a bad game, those are not reportable. So please, do not be toxic in these games. If he's raging or verbally abusing anyone, let me know and I will permanently ban them.
Nah, you don't know me. Lightning above and a fire below me. You cannot catch me, cannot hold me. You cannot stop, much less control me. When it rains, it pours. When the floodgates open, brace your shores. That pressure don't care when it breaks your doors. Say it's all you can take, better take some more. Cause I know what it's like to test fate. Had my shoulders pressed with that weight. Stood up strong in spite of that hate. Night gets darkest right before dawn. What don't kill you makes you more strong. And I've been waiting for it so long.
Alright, so I'll start commenting on some of their picks now that we have a few things sorted out. That's a lot of jungle bans. I'm going to assume that Swain is a target ban. Because Swain is not commonly picked, and Swain is... He's a strong pick in the right hands, but he's not exactly overpowered. There's much better bans to use. I'm just going to skip over it and assume that it's a targeted ban versus one of the other players. Yeah. Hecarim, Vi, and a Mumu ban. That's a lot of junglers taken out of the play. Saiyan has a scary Swain game. Okay, that's probably why. As I said, it was probably just targeted. So I'm not sure if that's a support Lux. I'm guessing, though, that they're doing a top Heimerdinger. The reason being is someone said they were going to do a top Heimerdinger in the stream chat. I would hope it's Wukong mid. Someone mentioned in chat that first picking Wukong is asking to be countered. Yes, it is, and that's why you first pick it and then take it mid. Mid Wukong is fantastic. I think it's so much better than top Wukong because you're almost always going to be versus very squishy, easily killed opponents. You can win pretty much any trade versus them, just landing your combo. You'll usually get first blood level 2 or 3 if you play it right. Think of it like the Riven of mids that isn't Riven, because Riven is played mid now too. Just ignore me, I'm stupid. Yeah, I adore Wukong mid. So that is a Lux support then. Interesting. Are you allowed to swap lanes? I'd prefer you didn't. The reason being is we try and keep people at least somewhat balanced against each other, like their opponents. Oh, never mind, it is a top top Wukong. Okay, quick rundown of the overall picks and roles. So that at this point we know is a top Heimerdinger. I'm not sure how well that's going to work versus Wukong. I've actually played Wukong mid versus a Heimerdinger, and it was an annoying lane, but it wasn't all that difficult. It just built a little bit of early lifesteal, and you one-shot his turrets and heal off them. So, it'll be interesting. A lot of that lane will boil down to ganks, and Wukong has a very large advantage in that he is so much stronger early game before Heimerdinger really has a chance to scale up. And also, Heimerdinger auto-pushes the lane, so that's so easy for Lee Sin to come in and do early ganks for him. We have a support Lux. I personally don't like support Lux as much as I used to. It does work, but it's pretty much a kill lane at that point. If you fall behind, if you're versus a sustained support, you're going to have a rough go of it. That being said, Lux with a Lucian. Lucian is actually considered to be overpowered in Korea. He's being played constantly there. So I'm interested to see how this works. They have a very high kill potential in that lane. And I feel like Lucian and Lux, that's a pretty decent pairing, where they both have a lot of minor CC or escapes for each other. And if they combine their burst, it's going to be very, very deadly. Mid lane, we have a Gragas versus Ahri. Meh. Ahri is going to win that lane pre-6, assuming that she doesn't just walk into barrels. and then after 6, it's going to boil down to who roams better, or who gets more ganks. So I don't really have that much of an opinion on that. Jungle Trundle isn't something we see that often, but Trundle is a very, very strong champion. I feel he is a little better as solo top than he is at jungle, just because he lacks the CC to be overly effective. But it works. It's not the end of the world. I'm sure he'll be just fine. Caitlyn Sona, very, very heavy poke lane. I'm interested to see how that works versus this Lux Lucian. They also have a little bit of sustain from the Sona, so I would expect this bot lane to win. But it boils down to who plays better. How about now? It went like half volume on my screen, so I turned it up slightly. Ugh, I'm not listening to more Bleach. Oh, classical music. Cool. Spectral Wraith Ahri incoming? It would work. I don't think it would be that amazing on her, but it would be funny to watch. Yes, streams are all recorded and then uploaded to our YouTube channel. As much as I don't mind this, this is not really good stream music. So I'm gonna skip it. Why can't I skip it? There we go. No one built Spectral Wraith on Ahri. Someone just made the joke and I said it would be funny to watch, but not good. No, I'm skipping this too. You guys have terrible taste in music. I feel like you guys are just trying to troll me now. Interesting, they're actually running Ghost on Heimerdinger. I don't agree with that. My reason being is that if you get caught out in a Wukong ult, you need your flash up. You need to be able to get out of it as soon as possible, because the sustained damage from it is incredibly powerful. I'm assuming he expects to be able to outrun them, but Wukong, long range gap closer, knock up, Lee Sin, gap closer, knock back. I'm fine with Linkin Park. I just feel that Heimerdinger is going to have some issues in that lane because he is going to be auto-pushing and he doesn't have flash. I just don't agree with that choice personally. It's also interesting that Lee Sin is running Teleport. It's fine. Teleport on junglers is actually a pretty good choice. That being said, I would prefer something else on Lee Sin. Oop, wrong window. Teleport junglers are actually really strong. That's what I was just saying. That being said, on Lee Sin, I don't know if I'd agree with it. Yeah, you can only request 2 songs. After that, you have to wait till your song's been played. Yeah, it's only good on Lee if you can insect ward kick 100% of the time. That's why flash is so powerful on him. It gives you the ability to flash ward kick, it gives you the ability to ward kick then flash. He kind of needs it. That being said, if he plays Lee Sin really well, it won't be an issue. Ahri has the right skin, can't play Ahri without it. That's totally true. If you don't run Foxfire Ahri, you instantly lose the game. That's why Riot is releasing the new Ahri skin. It's their stealth nurse. If you play Popstar Ahri, your win rate will drop by 20% because you're not playing Foxfire. Completely accurate advice confirmed on stream. Brian hates when I say stupid things and he has to hear it twice. Aww. Everyone's at 100%, so here we go. Gonna line up all the characters again. I'll actually remember this time. Why would you add Ice Ice Baby? You know I'm gonna skip it. I'm not gonna listen to Vanilla Ice for the next hour. Starting builds, okay. Heimerdinger, Cloth Armor, good choice by him, because he's gonna get shit on level 1 to 3. Once he gets set up in his lane, or he gets some early ganks, he'll be fine. So that Cloth Armor rushed into an early arm guard is going to be incredibly important for him. On the split side, we have Wukong running Flask. I don't know if I agree with the ward, just because... Wait, is Lee Sin gonna start red? Lee Sin should not start red. He should be going blue, red, then gank top, because Heimerdinger is going to be pushing. As much as I like having an early ward... Turning this down slightly. As much as I like having an early ward top lane, he kind of needs that sustain so that he can just trade every single opportunity and still come out ahead. Mid lane, both going Dorans, that's very, very standard. AD carry, both going Dorans, completely standard. Bottom lane, Fairy Charm on Sona, it's fine. Full consumables on Lux, completely agree with that. Good protection here on their buffs. That being said, bad protection on their blue. It's not gonna come back to bite them, but if I were them, I'd be maybe placing some traps or an Explorer ward, something to make sure that they're not coming. It seems odd to me that Lee Sin would be starting red when you have such a potent top laner who needs to snowball. If I were him, I'd be starting blue, which gives you the best leash, and then going straight to red, getting that, and then going straight to top. Good leash by Donger. This mid lane should go in Ahri's favor. I would suggest that she play this very aggressively, landing as much auto attack harass as she can. Well, obviously, dodging buffs. Or not buffs, barrels. Blah, blah, blah. Words are difficult. I think one thing and say the other. I would expect this to be a pretty boring bot lane. Gragas did hit level 2 first. Ahri needs to play a little aggressively here. She's just going to get shoved into turret and going to start having to waste mana. She's also having a little bit of difficulty last hitting under turret here. That's something that you can practice in custom games, just to get a good feel of it. And, well, it's not going to win you every game. It's an important skill to have. It's going to give you those few extra CS, it's going to keep you from falling behind, and it's going to open up more play opportunities where it's like, yeah, I can let you push me into turret, it sets up a free gank, and I then don't really lose any CS. Obviously, it depends on the champion. Some are better than others. Early gank coming in here from Trundle. Great pillar on his part, and good follow-up. That being said, weren't able to get a Lux binding in there, or it would have been... so no kill for them. It would have been a kill if they let Lux lead. It's possible it's on cooldown, though. Yeah, it's still on cooldown. Lee Sin here going in to steal some of his jungle. Trundle doing the... Oh, wait. That is their jungle. I'm all turned around. I was used to the blue team Lee Sin from last game. Top lane here. Donger is using his turrets as an escape route rather than using them to permanently push. Obviously, yes, he has permanently pushed, but he has a good escape route here. So if they try and dive him, he's going to be able to cycle between these turrets, walking back through them. And that's going to give him a lot of pressure. Also, essentially free ward turret now. Hasn't had to use a single potion on his part, and that indicates to me that Wukong hasn't been harassing enough. Wukong, on the other hand, has burned through 2 flask charges and his potion. I would expect him to be hard engaging every time he can. Like right here. E, auto attack, Q, miss combo. You have to auto attack, then Q, then follow up with a third auto attack. Or, I guess it would be second auto attack, but I count the Q as one. He came out ahead in that trade. He needs to be doing that every single set of cooldowns, and that's why Flask is so important on him. He's trying to get in here, but nothing he can really do. I would expect him to try and place a little bit of extra pressure on this turret, which is exactly what they're doing. Lee Sin going to try and come in behind. Great harass there coming in from Ahri. Slightly off on the kick. Yeah, Q. So Lux has gone back already. She hasn't really got any items, still just consumables, that's fine. Alright, Lee Sin's trying for top. I would suggest that he loop around through here. Yeah. Go in from behind, make Lee Sin start the engage. Lee Sin, you're way too far back. I would suggest Lee Sin go in there early. Oh, you're missing it. His Q is up because he just Q'd a minion. If he simply sidestepped, Q'd to him, he would have been able to Q auto attack E and it would have picked up the kill. Just a little bit of team miscommunication there. Wukong should have gone in first. He can soak that damage. He can then, after he's done that engage, use his W to maybe soak up a little bit of extra burst, and then Lee Sin's already in range to land the rest of his harass there. Sona generally has to choose between either poking with her mana or healing with it. Right now she seems to be going the more passive heal route. She's going to take a lot of damage from that. I think if they combine that in, they could have got the kill. Oh wait, that's exhaust on Lux. Usually if you're running bot lane Lux, you run exhaust. Getting a range of Kate late game is going to be almost impossible for her, so I don't think it's that worth it. Both junglers coming around to mid. Both mids are level 6. Great charm. That's going to be a free kill. He just shows up for the free assist. Oh wait, he didn't even get an assist. And they're pausing waiting for Wukong to reconnect. That was a fantastic charm by Ahri though, and then able to follow that through. I'm surprised though. I would have expected Trundle to get the assist from his orb. Orb of Winter, which I know it's not called. What is it, Frozen Domain or something like that? Frozen Domain, I'm awesome. Ahri's gone for double Doran's, whereas Gragas has gone for Doran's, Amp Tome, and Chalice of Harmony. So I'm assuming he's going to rush out a quick Athene's. I would then expect Ahri to transition from double Doran's right into Deathfire Grasp. Dependent on how the lane's going, she might pause her build to finish Boots, or maybe even Boots too. But she really needs that Deathfire Grasp, and then she needs to translate that into easy roams. I would hope they would give this blue over to Gragas. Yeah, they definitely are. He's missing out a lot of farm on this though. Good job on Ahri to push that in before going back. Always do that. If you have an advantage, push in the lane and then go ahead. Right. I thought yeah. I'm confusing their teams. I apologize. Anyways, yeah, if you have a kill, if you have an advantage like that, push in the turret, they lose a lot of farm, a lot of experience, and then by the time you've bought and got back to lane, only 2 minions died from this entire wave. And by the time she gets here, maybe one more will dive. It's nicely pushed towards her now, and she's going to be able to freeze it where she wants. Bot lane, nothing really happening. CS, pretty much dead even. The CS that Lucian is down, Sona is ahead. Sona decided to go for an early Philosopher's Stone and then an extra Rejuve bead. I don't agree with that. You need your early Sight Stone, and if you decide to go for Philosophers, that's great, but why do you have an extra Rejuve bead? What's that building into? I'm assuming she's going Philosophers right into Locket. That's not a good build. I'm going to back up and we're going to watch the fight mid. Both junglers collapsing on it. I would expect them to let Ahri lead with a charm. Why are they... Gragas just stood in melee range to try and bait in a fight versus an Ahri who's just going to taunt you. They're going to be able to turn that around. Oh. I would have expected Ahri to play that a little bit better. She ulted directly up here when it's obvious that they're moving into flash over the wall. I would save that personally. I am going to turn on Pandora again, because we're out of song requests. Bot lane, I thought they were maybe going to fight, but no. Just poking back and forth still. 1 second, I'm gonna get the music started, and then I'll focus back on top lane. Lee Sin coming bot. He's actually doing a very long loop around. Does he have ult? He does not. Sona has ult though, so if Sona lands a double stun, she needs to go in right now. Alt. You only got the one with it, but still free kill for you. Okay. I personally would have killed the Lux first. She's not a large threat, but she's still worth killing. It's not like she's completely useless or anything like that. So kill the Lux first, and then translate that into either a dragon, free push into their tower, or then swap onto Lucian if he stayed around. He's going to be able to dive that easily. Oh, no, exhaust comes out. That's going to slow him just enough, and they may actually get this. Yep, great job on Caitlyn to pick that up. That being said, I think she should have just ulted. Instead of flashing when he was still in turret range, just start up your ult. Lucian has no way to cancel it. It's possible that she looked at the damage and it wasn't going to be enough, but I think it would have. I could be wrong on that. Ahri's going to go pick up a quick blue buff. She should clear this first. Just throw a quick Q. Okay, or not. Alright, blue buff secured. And she's going to go back mid and continue bullying this poor fat man. Top lane. Wukong is building up a little bit of a CS advantage, and he does have an assist. That being said, Armguard is finished on Donger. Junglers always give blue. The only time junglers should not give blue is if you don't use mana as a mid laner, or you're really far behind, and you're like dying constantly. It's not really a question. You always get blue as mid. And if you don't, you should be securing it for yourself. Again, assuming you're not dying. That was a bad kick. And good counter gank from Trundle there. Showed up right on time. Oh wait, that wasn't a kick. Okay. I for some reason thought it was his ult, but it was just his Q. I just cut the tail end of the animation. I would expect... Lee Sin, yeah, just ward jump. Perfect. They're going to chase this down. Ahri's still just staying mid. They could have collapsed on that with Sona. And maybe pull something through. That being said, Ahri's ult is down, Lee Sin's ult's down. I understand why they didn't. Yes, you can sign up at any rating. I prefer if you're below gold. This is designed for bronze and silver players. But if like we need to fill in extra roles, we'll add you. Even if you're higher. Top lane, still large CS advantage now for Wukong. He's 20 CS, I guess it's only 13. Again, why is he not harassing? You have so much kill potential here. I do like that he built the early life still. He needs to be killing these turrets. Just auto-attack Q, boom, they're dead. Personally, I'd be using cooldowns on Donger every single cooldown. Good use of the clone to block all the rockets. I have a little bit of a duel here coming out from Lee Sin. I would expect him to be able to pick this up, but he may miss something. Great Q. Relatively easy one, but still good job in landing it. He needs to then land his E as soon as it's off cooldown. And he needs to land this Q as well. Landing the Q will give him that, and then kick for a quick kill. Perfect. Now they're going to get this blue. I would expect that donated over to Wukong. Wukong is actually very, very blue reliant. Okay, they're going to give it to Ahri. Personally, I would have said, okay, Ahri, you're already ahead. You already have blue buff, even if it's only half duration. Give that blue buff to Wukong and start him snowballing this lane and shut down the Heimerdinger. Great charm again. Gragas needs to be more careful with his positioning. He has a good reposition with his body slam, but he tends to just sort of walk directly at Ahri, and that's setting up a perfect charm for her. And if she lands a charm, she's going to take about half your health. That's just a given. She is building towards Deathfire Grasp, it looks like, so that's standard build for her. Lee Sin has opted to go for Ninja Tabi and Madrid's Razors. That's actually a very uncommon build for Lee Sin right now. Usually he would go Boots 5, and then Spear of the Ancient Golem, and then finish up a Sight Stone. And maybe like a Tiamat if he really wants damage. Looks like he's trying in for a quick a quick jungle steal here. Lee Sin is low. Quick smite on that. Perfect. Looks like Ahri is responding though. I think, yeah, he's gonna get that. Good job. That boils down to map awareness, knowing when their buff's up, and realizing that they're low health. I don't know if this was the ward that caught it. No, those were both fresh wards. So I think that was just him timing it properly. Boots 5 are incredibly powerful. Oh, sorry, what are Boots 5? Boots Mobility. They used to be tagged as offers 5 mood speed, so everyone referred to them as Boots 5. Yeah, Boots 5 are Boots of Mobility. They give massive move speed when out of combat, so they're incredibly valuable for junglers because they can show up in a lane and then rush to another lane very, very quickly. It offers so much map pressure. Again, this Heimerdinger, this Wukong is playing so passively versus Heimerdinger, and he should be able to just bully him out. Bot lane here. I'm going to rewind this so we can see what set up this kill. Looks like Lucian's landing some good harass. As far as CS advantage, he's only building about 15-20 CS. Good teleport coming in from Lee Sin. He's going to chase that in on Lux, it looks like, and Caitlyn's just going to be able to chase down for that kill. Land that quick E and kick. Perfect. At this point, they should transition to Dragon. They have 4 people down there. The only person here to stop them would be Gragas, who, yes, his ulti is fantastic at stopping dragons, but they're not low enough to have to worry about it. Also worth noting that Sona does have her flash, so if they try and all in and just be like, oh, we'll just get a free support kill, she's going to be able to escape that. Oh. I wouldn't have used that flash though. You don't have a ward on it. Not worth risking. Good pickup though. They did get the Lee Sin kill. I would expect Gragas to get that actually. He's too low mana. He's not going to be able to. Well, good pickup on purple team for both the kills that they managed to get as well as the dragon. Also, nice job though on blue team to counter and get that kill onto Lee Sin. If they wanted to do that though, I would have suggested to go in a little bit earlier. Ahri might die to this. I would laugh if she did. I am very mean. Yeah, she's not going to get that. It's reset. CS advantage. We have about 15-16 in advantage of Ahri. Not a large difference. They're pretty much dead even on kills and assists. Gragas is 1 assist behind and 1 death behind, but it's not enough to make Ahri have some insane advantage. That being said, she did just finish her Deathfire Grasp. At this point, I would expect to start see her just, boom, clear mid, take blue, gank bot. Bot needs to be shut down. Lucian already has 2 kills. Obviously, Caitlyn has 6, so she's very, very fed. But you want to keep this Lucian from getting any advantage. He does have 2 kills, he is winning in farm, so go where you're needed and shut down who you can. Good gank coming in here. I would again, why is Wukong not leading? Wukong has his ult, yet he's not been using it. He is low mana. He should have ult. Oh, he was 2 mana low. Okay. If that was the case, he shouldn't have used his Q. He should have just E'd in and ulted. It would have bought time for Lee Sin to go in and land his Q and his damage. They would have been able to get that kill, I feel. This is a little bit greedy, Caitlyn. She has no health. As much as, yay, I got a kill. Well, yeah, but you also gave Lucian a kill now, and he has red buff. So a good portion of that advantage is turned around now. He has a kill, red buff, and he's going to get a lot of damage onto this turret. He might not get the turret, but still, good pickup for him. That was just too greedy on Caitlyn's part. Good Q from Lee Sin. If he lands a ward kick, he could kill him. He doesn't have wards though. Again, good response by Trundle. I think he's going to get this kill. Oh, that was an issue of attack move. If he'd used attack move, he would have bit them as soon as he walked into the turret. Or, not into the turret. Out of the bush and before he got to turret. Lucian is doing well. He's making plays for himself. Again, I think a lot of this is the Lux pick. Not to insult Lux, she's been playing okay, but Lux support just isn't a very strong pick, especially versus someone who has sustain like Sona. Sona outpokes in a more reliable way and has sustain. I'm surprised that Ahri isn't roaming yet. You need to not be standing in the middle of minions. Gragas has to then choose to either farm or harass you unreliably. Land your charm before you ult. That's all I can really say to that. Good flash, got out of the barrel toss. Aw, poor Lee Sin. So many turrets, so little time. I would expect Wukong to be building into Tiamat, which is definitely what he's doing here. And Wukong's gonna die. Good escape, Ashley. He used the clone to bait them out for a little bit of their cooldowns, and then was able to just flash past the wall a little bit. Good job on him surviving that. That being said, he needs to give up this turret. He can't stay. They'll dive them. Trundle is fantastic at diving. Like, what are you doing here, Trundy? Or not Trundy. Yeah. There's no reason to stay there. Obviously, yeah, you're trying to bait in for Ahri. Ahri should be able to pick up that kill. There's the ult. Good turret block, but it's not going to save you. I still feel that wasn't worth it. Wukong should have backed up a little bit, tried to bait them past turret. After that, I would suggest wait for your team to show up because you need to stay alive, and then use your ult to lock them in place while they land their fantastic damage. Gonna rewind and we're gonna see what caused this kill. Lux is caught out warding. Sona is able to clear this. They actually collapse nicely with Lucian. I don't support that flash binding. Great ult by Sona catching her out, and Caitlyn, being as fed as she is, was able to pick that up. I'm interested to see which way this goes. Oh, he walks right into the turret. Okay, so Caitlyn had that completely secured. She stopped to ult for no reason. She could have auto-attacked and then backstepped. If Lucian chased, she would have been able to then Q and follow up with a final auto-attack. Great job by Lucian, though, for pulling that through. I don't support that Lux binding. The binding is not going to stop their damage. You use binding to stop their movement and be able to peel. Good job, Lee Sin, getting down here in time. I don't think he's going to be able to get it, though. Yeah, Lucian's playing really well. Interesting choice going Brutalizer. I don't know Lucian well enough to comment on whether or not that's the best build, but it definitely is a viable build. The cooldown reduction is really nice on him. I would suggest building more towards Trinity Force, though. Maybe like a Phage on him would give him a little bit more survivability, a little bit of damage, and mobility. Berserkers on him? Yeah, Berserkers is pretty... Oh, actually, he decided to go for Youmuu's Ghostblade. That's sort of a troll build. I don't like that ult on Wukong. That ult wasn't going to save you because you weren't in danger of dying, and it's not going to kill them, so why use the cooldown? Lucian kind of likes Sivir build, yes. I do agree with you. I would have suggested, though, more Trinity Force early. Trinity Force on Lucian is phenomenal. Yeah, Ghostblade is very subpar on Lucian. It is not a full-on troll build, but it's not efficient. Great binding by Lux there. She did take the kill, but that's fine. Lucian a little bit off par with, a little bit off base with his ult. Same with Lux. I think she got a little bit of it onto her, though. Ghostblade is fine. It works on him. That doesn't make it efficient, though. It's too much gold for what it gives him. It's a fine item. It's just not ideal. If he had saved his ult, this would be a kill for them. Instead, they're just going to kite around these turrets, and he's either going to... Oh, they might get this. And you're dead. Oh, that auto attack onto the minion. Good job escaping that. But again, that would have gone so much more smoothly if he had saved his ult. That would have been a completely free kill. Good job on his part, though, shielding it and then immediately auto-attacking a minion to sustain. It's a decent item, but it's not ideal on Lucian. There are better picks for him. Ooh, good hit there. Great job on Lucian. I actually am surprised that he roamed all the way up there. Great pickup for him. He's making plays for himself. He's 7-1-1 right now, and that's fantastic for him. I'm really impressed with how he's playing. Okay, you guys are disagreeing with me heavily and saying that Ghostblade is amazing on him. I'm saying that it is a good item on him, but not ideal. My reason being, would you not prefer Trinity Force? Oh, Lucian didn't decide to go with him. Alright, got a free kill there. Good pickup for her. I wouldn't have flashed there. Black Cleaver would have been okay. Personally, if I were playing Lucian, again, I don't play AD carry that much, so feel free to correct me, guys. But if I was playing him, would have gone Bloodthirster, Trinity Force, Last Whisper. And then, yeah, I wouldn't have built attack speed boots. I would have built probably Ionians for cooldown. Would that not be a more ideal build? Again, correct me if I'm wrong, but that's what I think would be best. It's going to give you the best of both worlds. Lee Sin, not going to die. Great ult there by Sona. Good loop around by Cade. Kate and Sona, obviously. Alright, purple team's going to pick up a free dragon for themselves. The teams are actually pretty even right now. There's 2,000 gold in advantage for purple team, obviously now a little bit more now that they picked up dragon. But no one team is completely dominant. Both AD carries are fed, and that's pretty much it. Flat armor pen, yes. Flat armor pen is less ideal as they stack armor. That's why I'm saying I would prefer build your early game damage for your burst and mobility and utility, and then rush into Last Whisper. And I feel that Bloodthirster Trinity Force would be all the damage he'd ever really need. And then, like, Last Whisper is more about the armor pen. And obviously Ionians for the cooldown, because he doesn't need attack speed. He relies on his passive for all of his auto attacks, really. It's auto attack, use a skill, auto attack, use a skill, auto attack. So the attack speed itself doesn't really matter. Okay, so then I realize that's gone. I would expect them to try and time that now. Just so that they know exactly when it's going to respawn so they can set up that side of the map for control of it. Great warding on purple team, I just gotta say. They have a ward in behind dragon. They have their own jungle warded a little bit. They have the enemy blue buff warded. There could be a couple more wards on the map, but a few of them have just expired. I don't agree with that either. It was a good Wukong ult. He landed it on a lot of people, but no one was in position to take advantage of it. And then, of course, Ari was able to just jump in there for a free kill. But that was unrelated to the Wukong ult. I would have maybe communicated with team a little bit better, said, okay, I have ult, let's fight. Okay, great, that's amazing, let's definitely fight. Great ult by Sona. Good kick by Lee to just interrupt them, keep them in range long enough for Kate. But I would have waited until the team was in position. Fantastic fight by purple team there, though. They were trying to do a bush bait with the turrets. Didn't work out for them because it was warded. If you're going to try and do a bush bait, make sure you know the bush isn't warded. Two cleavers not efficient, no. This isn't Season 3 anymore. Blue team blue buff is back up. Gragas, the ult is up right now. I want him to ult this Lee Sin. Zephyr, not Cleaver. Zephyr's a great item on AD carries. Like a really, really late game item, but it's pretty good. Alright, looks like purple team's gonna maybe try and steal a blue buff. They're not gonna be able to though, because blue team's all gathered around it. If they go in, it's gonna be like, okay, great. Heimerdinger's here. So Heimerdinger actually got the blue buff. Not ideal, but not the end of the world by any means. Obviously, Athene's is finished on Gragas, so he's going to have fine mana sustain. Ari has now finished Deathfire Grasp and Hourglass. So her build is, for all intents and purposes, done. At this point, I would suggest you maybe build like a Void Staff if they ever start building some magic resist on blue team, or Death Cap if she wants to go full burst. She could even do a whatchamacallit, Lichbane if she wanted to go full burst. At this point, it's pretty much her game to build whatever she wants. She's in a position to make a difference. So many wards from blue team. This is what you would expect for warding. As I said, it's very good right now, but it's nothing out of the ordinary. They have their own jungle covered. They have river covered. Great pickup on to get Lucian out. I believe that was set up by a taunt, was it not? I just want to see what sets this up. So Lux tries to go in. At that point, Wukong goes in and Ahri goes in. Team just split up there a little bit, allowing them to dive onto carries. Great job in picking that up, purple team, but blue team needs to protect their carries. You can't split up like that. Caitlyn's gonna kit that all through. Lux blocks it, doesn't help her survive though. Great Sona ult. Hit all three of them. Not gonna set up any kills, but still a good job. Yes, as Fate said, this is the warding you should have. If you have, well, obviously some of them expired. If you're not warding this much, you're doing something wrong. You need to ward. Everyone needs to ward. And if your team isn't, I would give them a friendly reminder that everyone needs to ward, and then do your part. Whether it's buying an Oracles if you're full item build, or if it's just stacking wards yourself. Alright, big wave top lane. I would expect them to just go clear that though. It's not going to really accomplish anything. Top turret's still full health. They're going to donate that over to Caitlyn, who's already rather fed, but still behind in CS of Lucian, so great job on his part still. Lichbane actually on Gragas. It's fine. Lichbane is a strong item on Gragas as a second or third item. I would expect him to be going Hourglass, because he needs to be able to survive these engages. If you don't have an Hourglass and you body slam in, you're going to die. And the only way to use Lichbane is to body slam in. So those two items kind of have to go together unless you're stupidly ahead and just picking off lone targets. Just checking my friend's tournament. Okay, Ahri. Oh. Nice. Nice. So she actually, I don't know if that was a flash or just an alt charge, but she was able to loop around so that the second portion of the Q was able to hit. Oh, phenomenal job. Quadra kill. That was absolutely perfect on her part. Amazing job. I'm actually going to rewatch that because that was just so good. So she did two things here. First of all, oh wait, she's bouncing around. She lands the charm on. It's going to miss, so she flashes. Oh no, that was just ult, never mind. It looked originally like she ulted to the second person the Q hit. She then hourglasses at the last possible second while Caitlyn's dealing damage. Comes out of it, uses her skills to heal up for a large amount of damage. Gets the quadra kill. Phenomenal job. Dragon's up, although it's not that important at this point of the game. I would almost suggest they do a final buy and start pushing for Baron. Because as you see, they have an incredibly fed Caitlyn right now, and obviously Ahri is very fed. So I would be trying to translate that into a major objective. Dragon's great. I would love you to take Dragon at some point. But when you have a quadra kill, they're still down. You could still do it. They're not gonna though. Yeah, great job picking up the Dragon, but that was a free Baron for your taking. The fact that Sona doesn't have any pink wards and does not have an Oracles, that's a misplay on her part. That would have secured a 100% safe Baron, but they didn't even need it. The enemy team had a long enough respawn timer, and you had enough damage to easily take it before they had finished respawning. Wukong has finished his Hydra. Looks like he's still building a little bit of damage. I'm assuming... I don't even know what he's building into here. Oh, he's building a Frozen Mallet. I forgot the build order changed for that. Frozen Mallet's okay on him. It's nothing that special, though. Oh, little bit of misplay. I would have saved that. Also, again, he has this Lich Bane, and he's never able to use it in fights because he doesn't have an Hourglass yet. That, again, it's a great item, but not as a first or second item. You kind of need a Hourglass to go with it. Ahri's looping around here. I would expect them to turn onto it with a Wukong and Sona ult. Wukong setting it up. Sona ult only hit 2, but still worthwhile. A great dodge of the Donger there. Able to avoid pretty much all of his burst, although still taking a lot in return. She had Hourglass up. As soon as I saw the Lucian come in, I would have suggested Hourglassing, and then try and set up a play after the fact. They're getting a free blue buff over onto Wukong. Again, I appreciate it going onto Wukong. Alright, so apparently his tournament is still going, so he's not going to be able to shoutcast today. I apologize for that. You guys will just have to put up with me. Wukong, still high CS advantage. Heimerdinger just hasn't been able to do much this game. I would have suggested finishing the Hourglass before Rylai's. Just personal preference. Rylai's doesn't actually proc with your turrets. So the only thing you're able to really proc it on is your grenade, which is already a slow and stun, so not worth it. Or your missiles, which are, I believe, counted as an AoE. I could be wrong on that. Either way, Rylai's to only proc on wide item, not overly worth it. I would have suggested get the Hourglass, drop your turrets around you, Hourglass inside the middle of them, and then drop second set turrets as soon as you come out. I don't think that ult was necessary. I personally would have saved that until I was in real danger. You weren't going to be hit by anything from Lux, and Trundle doesn't really have the damage to finish you off or the CC to keep you in place. Lux and Lucian coming up from bot lane. We'll see if this turns into a proper team fight or if they just falter. They're a little bit split up here. Lux walking in this way. I would expect them to almost dive onto her. I don't think they had the vision for it, though. No. Purple team needs to step up their warding. Blue team still has fantastic ward coverage. This is ideal. Exactly what you should have. Sona has opted to go for Locket and a Unholy Grail, or a Fiends, whatever you want to call it. That's not enough wards, and she doesn't have boots. So that's a misplay on her part. They need to get proper vision. Blue team seems to really like splitting up. Again, they left Lucian and Lux alone. And now Heimerdinger's alone. Alright, they landed that onto Lucian. I expect them to get a quick kill there. Perfect, perfect. And great follow through from the rest of the team. Ahri positioned that very, very well of ulting to the side so she could get her Q across their entire team. Oh... Good turret block, but in the end, Caitlyn's gonna get it. Blue team just seems to be splitting up too much. They have a reasonably good team fight here, but they need to be protecting their carries. They need to be sticking together, and they need to find a way to land their CC. Like, Gragas needs to be ulting someone out of position. Lux needs to immediately follow up with a binding, and then they need to pop them and instantly run away. Heimerdinger has very, very strong zone control, but if you split up, that zone control doesn't really count for anything. Right, great job, Purple Team, especially, obviously, to Ahri and Caitlyn. They built up a very strong advantage for themselves. Definite props, though, to Lucian, though. He played very, very well of making opportunities for himself, making plays. Okay, quick rundown of all their items. Okay. Oh, we do have a guest shoutcaster. 1 second. I'm just going to establish the call. We'll go over this. And Brian, do we have the next room ready? Awesome.
Give me just 1 second.
Okay.
I'm setting up my headphones so that your stream isn't riddled with feedback.
Fair enough. Okay, in the meantime, I'm going to be going over the results of the last game here. So, Trundle versus Lee Sin. Lee Sin pulled off some very good plays there, especially he did make some pretty good use of the teleport. He maintained a proper CS advantage over his jungle opponent and built very, very wisely. He got some early game damage and then translated into full tank for late game. That being said, I don't like Sunfire on Lee Sin. I would have suggested maybe translate into a Tiamat for your damage item. Obviously, you're trying to build for full Hydra. I also would have suggested a Sightstone. Maintain that proper ward coverage, and it also, like, Sunfire Cape just isn't that good. You need to be able to stay in range, and Lee Sin just doesn't generally do that. It's not his ideal role as a jungler. Ahri, I mentioned earlier, her build perfectly fine. She did build Void Staff like I suggested. That being said, there wasn't much magic resist on the enemy team until late game. So, perfectly fine, not a big deal there. Yes, he's listening to both at the same time. Sona, my complaint there was she went far too much into active items. She actually built Locket as well as Unholy Grail. I don't personally support that. She didn't build boots, and she didn't maintain as much ward coverage as the other team. Obviously, they were very far ahead, but blue team had much, much better ward coverage as far as just controlling the map. It didn't end up making a difference in the long term, but it was just a slight misplay on her part. Wukong needed to play far more aggressively. He could have easily zoned and killed that Heimerdinger early. He also had a couple times where he used ult where there just wasn't really much purpose to it. I'm also personally not a fan of Frozen Mallet on Wukong, but it is a perfectly fine item on him. I personally might have gone more towards finishing his Trinity Force earlier, and then building into either a Randuin's to keep them in range of your ult, or a Guardian Angel so you can go in, do your burst, revive, and then continue on. Caitlyn's build, perfectly standard, nothing really out of the ordinary there. Lucian. I mentioned this earlier, I don't personally support Ghostblade as an early game item on Lucian. As many people mentioned in the chat, there was quite a lively debate over that. I personally feel it would be better to go Bloodthirster, Trinity Force, Last Whisper, as well as I don't personally think that Berserker's Greaves is a good item on Lucian. You don't need the attack speed. You're pretty much relying on your passive for your auto attacks. So I personally would suggest Ionian Boots so you have the cooldown reduction. Alternatively, if you were being heavily pelted by the magic damage on the enemy team and were being CC'd, you could even build Mark Treads. I just don't feel that Berserker's Greaves is a very strong item on most AD carries, especially Lucian. Gragas, I had the complaint that Lichbane needs to be combined with some sort of survivability item like Hourglass. You're only able to use it if you're able to body slam into the middle of their team. When you're behind and you don't have Hourglass, there's no way to pull that off reliably. So if I were him, I would have built either Death Cap or finished my Hourglass first and then built Lichbane. Heimerdinger decided to go to Rylai's Crystal Scepter instead of Hourglass. Significant misplay there because you need people to dive you as Heimerdinger. You need to be maintaining proper turret control around yourself. As soon as they dive you, you generally drop your alted turret and pop into Hourglass. As they're then stuck either retreating or killing your turrets, as soon as you come out of Hourglass, you can drop a second set of turrets and try and stun them on top of you. I personally don't feel that Crystal Scepter is that strong on Heimerdinger because you essentially have two damaging skills it works on. Missiles, which I would have to check, I'm not sure if they count as a single target or multi-target skill. And then you have your grenade, which is already a slow and stun. So I just don't feel that Crystal Scepter was a good build there. Lux, I feel was not a very good pick for support, especially when you already knew that it was a Sona. I believe Sona was first picked. Lux is an okay support. She can pull off some really good things, especially with a poke AD carry such as Lucian. But if you're versus someone who is also a poke laner and has a heal, you're going to have a really, really rough lane. Past that, great job everyone. There was a couple misplays there I commented on throughout the stream. Again, all these videos are going to be recorded and uploaded to YouTube by no later than tomorrow morning. Brian already has the next room organized most